two things that I think can play as hindrance for South Africans, which would be things that could prevent us from truly uniting as a people, no matter the race. And in my earlier post, I mentioned that this will be quite an uncomfortable conversation because there are two things, in my opinion, that I think we have to actually discuss. One is admitting the need for redress in the country. So, firstly, we have to admit that the ANC has failed to redress the legacy of apartheid. And with ANC failing to address the issue of redress in the country, that does not one necessarily mean that now we have to cancel the idea of redress from the legacy of apartheid. What that actually means is that since the ANC proved to be incapable, there have to be different organizations that are capable of doing that. And by the way things look, in my opinion, I don't know or actually don't think that can come from any political party that currently exists. The redress that is needed in this country will probably come from a new emerging organization. And if that new emerging organization is to be part of parliament, it has to be led by people who can agree on these things alongside other things. But as I do mention, in my opinion, these might just be the two things that will be a stumbling block. Redress still has to happen in the country. There's many people who agree or disagree with this. On the one side, you have black people or previously disadvantaged people who actually agree that redress is needed. And then on the one side, we have people who totally disagree that redress is needed to the point that the idea of redress and how it should be implemented, there's so many people that call it reverse apartheid. And I, in a sense, do understand why they would say that for many particular reasons. Some of these reasons will be trying to apply for a job. And because of affirmative action, which is again something that was put in place to be a form of redress, they will tell you, even if you bring your CV and you are fully qualified for the job, for the position, they will tell you that no, this job, we only want to hire black people. That just might be a problem for many people. I can understand that. Cool. But there still has to be redress in the country. If we disagree that we don't need redress, then there's no way forward. If we agree that redress is still needed, then we can have a way forward. And with a way forward, we have to come up with ideas alternative to those that were already introduced if we have to come with alternatives. And with those alternatives, there has to be a plan of action. And also, we have to talk about the duration in which we have to reach the plan that we have put on paper, which now is more of the difficult part of the conversation because we can't say this is the plan and this is where we are going. And we, with where we are going, we don't have a plan, firstly, and we do not have an idea of how long it should take. One thing that I do think is that it will take very long. Very long can be anywhere between 10 to 50 years, maybe, because you can't fix problems that started in the 17th century and then post 94 you have other problems that came in because of a leadership that came in that was not ready to lead a country, right? So plan of action, agreeing on this one thing, and then we go forward. And then the second thing that we also have to agree on is directly to people of color or people who are previously disadvantaged. You have to truly be aware of the fact that, contrary to what you believe, not all white people are racist. Contrary to what you believe, there's millions of white people that want this country to go forward, that really want the country to do good, that really want the country to do well. And with that being said, many of them may not have the ideas on how this will happen. Many of them as them not being politicians, cannot necessarily have the political will to actually move the country forward, because it requires a certain kind of person, which I have to admit, I don't think I am. If I'm ever going to be that kind of a person, maybe in the future. But at the moment, I'm just an observer of society. When I have conversations with black people who have not had access to white people, there's so many that actually believe that all white people don't like black people. And I'm saying to them, listen, you don't have to interact with them in person, but you can do a very simple example. Take your smartphone, if you have Wi-Fi connection or if you have data, go on TikTok and just watch how people are interacting with each other. Ooh, I'm receiving a call. Just watch how people are interacting with each other. Just watch how some white people are trying to understand black culture to the point that there's some people who speak black languages, black South African languages fluently. Yes, there is still a lot that have not learned the languages. Some don't even know how to greet in South African languages. Let's say you're a white guy who stays in Limpopo, but in the area that you are in specifically, it's Venda. There's some people who don't know how to greet in Venda. Cool, there's those people. But then there's those who are interested. And with those white people that are interested in moving the country forward alongside their countrymen, which are black people, colored people, Indian people, may have the same kinds of fear you have that, oh, what if they don't receive me well? What if they don't want to understand me because of my background? What if they are hostile? And you can only imagine this. You're a black lady. You're trying to speak to a white guy. Both of you have the same thoughts. What if he's hostile? And he's thinking, what if she's hostile? There's no way that you're going to meet and have any form of conversation because already you have preconceived notions in your mind on how this person is going to react to you. And that could be wrong. Say you interact with the person and they are hostile. It's just that one person who was hostile. Does that now mean that everyone else can be painted with the same brush that you received from this one interaction? No. I, for a long time before, what's wrong with my throat? For a long time before I started hustling, had not really interacted that much with white people. But as soon as I started hustling, I interacted with them so many times and I got to learn so many different characters, so many different people. And to the point that I would be able to distinguish if I'm speaking to a white Afrikaner person and if that white Afrikaner person is a boer, a farmer, or if that white Afrikaner person is one that stays in a suburb and has been cultured, if we may say. I'm able to even distinguish that I'm speaking to an English white person in South Africa, Greek white person, Italian. I'm able to distinguish because I'm able to interact with them without preconceived notions, without judging them before I speak to them. And if I have a bad experience, most of the time it's not even that racial. It's just that I will find that, oh no, that guy is rude. And when I ask the next person who happens to be white, it's like, yeah, no, I don't get along with that guy. He's a bit rude. And you find that he's just that, maybe an introvert or it's just rude. So these two things will be the main hindrances. One, admitting that the legacy of apartheid still exists and we have to redress the legacy of apartheid. Two, people of color or people of previously disadvantaged backgrounds have to admit and make themselves aware of the fact that not all white people are who you think they are. Some of them might just be the nicest people you will meet. And when you watch content online of some of the most successful South Africans in business, in music, in art, in almost anything that can lead you to great wealth, you will find that each and every one of these people, let me say particularly black, Indian, colored people, in each and every one of these people, there is somewhere in their journey where they were assisted by a white person who did not need to do it. Because with them being assisted, it's not as if that white person was going to get any benefits. Sometimes they do not even want any credit. And they were helped. So, you see, you have to realize that there are those people. Don't judge everyone just by the color of their skin. And to just end things off, Oh, this is very short. There's only 10 minutes. To just end things off, this is now speaking to everyone generally. You cannot just look at a person and look at the color of their skin and then find out where they are from and then think all of a sudden you know them. That's not right. Okay? Because now you're missing opportunities to either grow yourself, to either opportunities in business or even employment. For safety reasons, I'm one of those people when I am walking in any area, I will scan the area, I'll scan the people around and try to see who could be a risk. And even at the same time when I'm doing that, I'm also actively telling myself that they could be, but they might just not be. So the next time you meet with a white person, if you're black or colored, or if you are white and you meet a black or white person, don't instantly judge them based off what they look like, where they come from, and how they sound. Because you will find black people who speak English fluently, but with a little bit of an accent. I know I speak it with a little bit of an accent, but I think I picked it up in music. But you cannot assume what kind of person I am until you talk to me. Some of you have your assumptions because, fortunately or unfortunately, I make videos and you get to see what type of person I might just be. But we might just be wrong about that as well. So until you have a conversation with someone, you sit down with them, you get to know them, get to know their background, what affects the way they think, the decisions they make, only then you can judge them. But until these two things, which are very simple things, until these two things are engraved in people, the people who are truly centrists, not left leaning, not right leaning, agreeing with some things on the left, agreeing with some things on the right, but want to stay on the center. Until people who say that they want to be on the center can understand these just two simple things, then we will see true unity in the country. I don't know how long that will take, probably a long time. I'll respond to comments now. Let's see. Okay. First one, good evening, sir. Hello, Mama. Sorry, I want this racial tension to end. You and me both. It's going to take us a very long time. I will say I'm sorry every day, but I can't take this anymore. The racial tension, I would assume. Both me and you, and I think many other people in the country are tired of the tension. And when it comes to the racial tension, and I have to add this one in the class thing. The racial tension plays as something that divides us as people. But beyond that, there's a thing of class. Class also divides us. You're poor, you're middle class, you're rich. We are divided by firstly our geography. We are divided by our opportunities, and then we are also divided because of where we are from by the way in which we think. We are affected by our areas. So there's many things that play into dividing us as South Africans that we must fight against. But I had to talk about these two because I think they might just be the biggest stumbling blocks. And again, this is just my opinion. Mm, mm, my man, a paradigm shift is necessary for all of us. We as a nation are ridiculously kind and talented and innovative. Imagine how much good we can do when we become colorblind, not culture blind. Uh, I don't agree with being colorblind. As as I said, I'm learning this thing called non-racialism. I don't believe in being colorblind. I have eyes, I can see. But it's what is important is culture. Culture, not in a traditional sense, but culture in, let's say, we are creating a culture of self-sufficiency, of being educated and moving forward as united people. That could be our culture. And we could do it without considering our racial lines. So the term of color blindness, it's unrealistic to be quite honest. I'm curious by nature and I'm not afraid to ask those questions. I'm very open about myself too. Yeah, to my own detriment as well, because I'm always challenging my own thoughts. Renee, oh, that was Mark Thompson. I am says we can come together and overcome this. I believe so too. Renee, yo, we need to start looking at the human race and not the race by color. Thank you. Mhlanga, lock Zuma, Malema, and Cyril in a room with no food until they unite. No, human beings are not like that. You can't unite us by starving us. One will be eaten. That's all human beings. It's the politicians who divide the people with racial tension. The World Cup brought us together and it was beautiful. Yeah, the politicians are very good at doing this. Because it's a power play. It's part of what keeps them in power. And none of the political parties are innocent of doing this. All of them are guilty. So that's why I say I don't think unity can come as a form of any of the political parties that exist. I think Renee is trying to manipulate me and us. Renee, don't be gay. Vote for the DA. The country needs economic growth. Um, I previously did, but I want to take my vote back. I'll find another political party on the right because the way the DA has been moving, it doesn't show any evidence of really caring about poorer people, of really caring about people in the middle class or lower middle class rather. This would be the people earning 15,000 a month. A very simple example is the tariff increases that they are applying in Cape Town right now. So people who are already permanent residents of Cape Town, and we're talking about the nice parts of Cape Town, there's going to be a tariff on electricity and water. And I think this is being taken to court. And with it being taken to court, I think it's because they want to fight against this. Because now you will have middle class people finding themselves in a place where they are unable to actually afford to live in the same areas that they've always been living in just because of these tariff increases, meaning that they have to pay more monthly based on the value of their property. So tariff increases can and will affect people, but it will not affect them equally or the same. The richer might not be affected at all. It's like a single cent to what they have in their accounts. But the normal upper middle class or middle class, they may find that they will struggle and eventually they will have to move to more affordable places. So that in itself is a move that I think is not caring of people. And listen to what I'm saying. It's not about black or white. It's just about the class again. One could say that DA is a racist political party, but I also once said this, but I'll have to take that one back. And I think they are more of a classist political party because it's more about can you afford to live in the areas that we govern as we make them more and more expensive to live in and totally or almost neglecting the poorer. So that's the problem that I have with them. Mark Thompson, point taken. Every day, every interaction is learning opportunities. Thanks for your voice. Thank you for listening in. Renee, I feel you, bro. I just don't see the economy growing with the current government policies. Me neither. Me neither. And again, I mentioned, I don't think it was coming from any of the political parties that exist. We have to come up with something, guys. Even if it's not a political party, but something that can actually affect how politics work and that they can actually listen, but because they don't listen to us ordinary people. I'm going to read the last comment and I'll end the live here after reading the last comment. I've forgotten how to see them. Oh, there we go. There need to be some kind of platform for underprivileged people to show their skills and perhaps sponsored. Oh, wait, they can do on social media. They already do. They already do. They are trying. They're trying to get discovered. But yeah, it's just hard. And most of the people that get the help, they get the help because they've reached a certain point. So I can make even a simple example with a person like myself here on YouTube. There's many things that I want to do with the channel, like podcasting and meeting interesting people and having conversations with them, but that is expensive. That means I have to buy equipment. I don't have the money to buy the equipment. And by the time somebody wants to put in some money for me to buy the equipment to have conversations with these people, some of which I might even not like and might even disagree with, but the conversations would be important. By the time somebody wants to come in and put a cent in a form of a sponsorship, it will be at a point where the numbers are very high. So People at the lowest level don't really get help. Only people who are very, very visible will get help. So, but they're trying. They're trying, Shemes. uh, did I say I'm going to read the last comment? I saw one comment that I think is interesting. I just don't know how this thing works, man. Okay. The injustice of the past can be ignored and need to be redressed. White people need to chill. I think many are. Some are not. Yeah, no, I'm going to end it there. I'll see you in the next live. I don't know when it's going to be. Salute. Thank you for tuning in.